Good evening and welcome to the final evening of the second weekend of the 6th International Lonavala Film Festival. I have a full house here today for Kati Patang. We have Tushar Bhatia here, the music director, and he's on a beach because Ye Sham Mastani has to be a sham which is Mastani on a beach. We of course have Ashim Samanta with us. Welcome, sir. RJ Divya Solgama.
Hi.
Jyotin Goel, old friend Jyotin Goel, Aparna Mudi, who's an R.D. Burman fan, and I can see R.D. Burman right behind her. And of course, we have our festival director, Madhav Todi. I said these names in order of the way they appear on my screen. And both Divya said to us yesterday, it was Amar Prem. I cannot miss it. And today Tushar said, if I have to battle millions of traffic to be here to do Kati Patang, I'm going to be here. So I'm actually going to start very, very quickly. Kati Patang, as you told us day before yesterday, was in Genesis even while you all were correcting the script of Aradhana. And that was a memorable day because you had a great script for Aradhana and you had Kati Patang.
Right.
And obviously the moment Aradhana became a smash super hit, you went on to saying, Shaktida went on and said, come on, Kati Patang, let's move, guys. No time to die. And you all made Kati Patang, but you didn't use Sharmila, you used Asha Parekh, and then you went back to using Sharmila Tagore in Amar Prem. So what was the reason for that?
Sharmila wanted to have a baby.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and she was pregnant during Kati Patang.
So logically...
Making of Kati Patang, yeah.
Yes. And ironically, it's the only Filmfare Award that Asha Parekh has ever got for Best Actress. And it's kept in pride of place. And since Asha ji is a friend of mine, she always talks about it very fondly. Tushar, Ye Sham Mastani. I want you to talk about the outstanding and immortal music of Kati Patang. And with due respect to this weekend, Aradhana, Amar Prem and Kati Patang for me are the three best music scores out of 10 if I had 10 music scores to choose. And every year we always have this between certain film buffs, which are the 10 scores. And so far, no film from the last 5 years has ever reached that list. They're all from the 70s and the 80s and some 90s. But Tushar, over to you.
Kati Patang is so important. It is so important for the music, for Rajesh Khanna, for Ashin's the story. I think it was Gulshan Nanda's story. Yes, I remember.
It was from a novel he had written.
Yes. And in fact, there was a Gujarati play I saw around that time with my grandfather, if you please. It was called Tuti Dor Patangni, which means Kati Patang. And it was a smash hit Gujarati play. It came alongside with the film, a little after the film was a big success. But the music, wow. What to say? Ye Sham Mastani, Jis Gali Mein Tera Ghar, Pyar Divana Hota Hai. Amazing songs. And the holy song, Aaj Na Khelenge, Aaj Na Chodenge, Bas Hum Joli Khelenge Hum Holi. Oh, wow. So I can say, Ye Jo Mohabbat Hai was very popular. I prefer slightly less flippant songs even in those days. So it was not such a popular, famous song with me, I mean, at home. But everyone loved Ye Jo Mohabbat Hai. And Pyar Divana Hota Hai. There's a small story. It's associating just 8 years back. I was in the US. There was some kind of a function, celebration that I was around and to, Andaz Apna Apna music director and all that. So they said, sir, please sing a song. Everybody was singing songs. It was probably a Gaane ki mehfil. And I said, kaun sa Gana? For the life of me, I couldn't remember a single song. He said, we have many karaoke CDs. So I said, acha lagao, jo bhi hai. I didn't even ask. So pehla Gana, uske Kishore Kumar ka. I said, lagao. Jo dekha hoga, dekha jayega. It played Pyar Divana Hota Hai. Believe me, I did not even have to think about the words. The music, the words, everything just came spontaneously. There was nothing. You don't have to remember the songs. They are there they are part of your life. Whether it's Shamastani or Jis Gali. Jis Gali, oh, I just love. I sang again that song in America. It was Pancham Das' birthday that day, on the day of my concert. And it was a classical concert, but I said, I want to sing one song. And that was Jis Gali Mein Tera Ghar Na Ho Palma. What to say about the music? And one secret, this is also very personal. I know I'm talking very personal things. Mera Naam Hai Shabnam had such a fabulous impact on my younger brother Shamal and me. We were not allowed to hear such songs, quote unquote, such songs. So we would shut the door and play the record. We just loved that song, and Asha ji and the whole rap aspect of it. And oh wow, it was too good. I think Bindu ji was fabulous. Prem Chopra was fabulous. It was definitely a director's film, and it had a tremendous sense of drama. We walked away, as I said yesterday, we walked out of the theater, Roxy Cinema, singing the songs. Thank you. I thank Panchamda, thank Shaktida, and wonderful music, just wonderful film. I mean, I cannot think of myself without these films. Rajesh Khanna era.
Actually, I always say to myself that my old age is secure because this music and books and movies are my best friends and they will remain with me when everyone else is gone. I would be very happy sitting in a nice small little house and listening to music all day, but this would be this music. Aparna, you're new. You're here for the first time at the Lonavala International Film Festival. Welcome. I see Panchamda behind you. I know you and your husband are both avid fans of R.D. Burman. So when I was doing an actual Kati Patang, I said, no, there's no way that you can't be on it. And I brought you in here. Tell us something about why you love, and this is a very specific question I'm asking. When all is said and done, and when all is said and gone, it's not as if Lakshmikant and Pyarelal did not give us outstanding music. They did. It's not as if Kalyanji and Anandji did not give us outstanding music. They did. It's not that O.P. Nair Saab or Ravi Saab or Shankar Jaikishan did not give us that kind of, and they did. And some of the music that Ravi Saab gave us or Shankar and Jaikishan gave us was actually outstanding. But why is it that it is R.D. Burman and only R.D. Burman that is a rage and a cult? Because in the night between 9:30 and 10 and midnight and beyond that, every major radio station is copying Divya and playing the songs of Divya, listening to Divya and seeing the couple of unusual R.D. Burman songs he plays and then putting it on their channels. It's R.D. Burman from beginning to end. And I have now started listening to Lakshmikant Pyarelal and I'm finding I'm enjoying the music of Manoj Kumar and Lakshmikant Pyarelal. I'm enjoying the little sojourn that Raj Kapoor had with Lakshmikant Pyarelal. What is the magic of R.D. Burman? I thought I'd talk to fan.
First of all, thank you so much for including me in this. I'm feeling very overwhelmed with all the big names here. I'm but a small R.D. Burman fan. Actually, I was Ye Jo Mohabbat Hai. I actually put a Twitter poll yesterday about which is your favorite song from Kati Patang, and I just put 4 songs: Ye Sham Mastani, Ye Jo Mohabbat Hai, क्या बोलते हैं, मेरा नाम है शबनम, and प्यार दीवाना होता है. And I was expecting Ye Sham Mastani hoga, and everybody, and there was like a lot of votes for Ye Jo Mohabbat Hai, and we were wondering why, because Ye Sham Mastani happens to be one of the most melodious tunes, and everybody knows how to sing it. Everybody plays it on guitar. It's one of the first things that people learn when they learn how to play guitar. Those who can't sing whistle the tune. Everybody knows it. Everybody who lives in India, whether they know the language or not, they know this whistle. They will definitely know this whistle. And it's such a melodious tune. And I was just thinking, how come? And then I realized that Ye Jo Mohabbat Hai is the quintessential heartbreak song. You know, like anybody who feels ki, you know, Ye Jo Mohabbat Hai, ye unka hai kaam. And I was just thinking that, wow, it fits so well. And Rajesh Khanna is looking so dapper in this, despite the fact that he was wearing a belt on the shirt that is actually tucked outside. But that was his style and everybody loved it. Ye Sham Mastani mein, you know, he was such a emotional hero. And Pancham Da, I think, like caught that very well. You know, whether it was melody for this, even Aaj Na Khelenge, we were just talking about it. Aaj Na Khelenge mein the contrast of the masti, Aaj Na Khelenge Bas Hum Joli, and then the sad part that comes as the stanza, as the antara. Both the stanzas are very sad and melodious, and they kind of show the pain of Asha Parekh's character. It was so beautifully done, and he has also drawn the tune from Aradhna right in the beginning of the film. He starts with na 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 na. The film starts with that. It's so well done, and the transitions, background music ho ki even the songs that go, and Mera Naam Hai Shabnam. Oh my God, I cannot even begin to say
Did you also have to lock yourself in the room to hear these songs like Tujha and Kamal?
No, I didn't. I think because we have grown up with these songs on the television, Doordarshan, Rangoli, and all these. I mean, I have not seen these films in the theater. I've seen these films on TV. But Mera Naam Hai Shabnam was so different, right? Like, because nobody had heard that kind of sound. Cabarets bhi the, but spoken cabarets, that entire cabaret is a
Yes,
spoken
that was
cabaret.
actually, one of the most unusual things. There was no Mukra Antra.
Yeah.
It was just her looking accusingly at Asha Parekh.
And the rhythm, oh my God, the rhythm. And the rhythm, the
Ashim
entire
sir,
song is
I would like to understand why he did it,
Yeah, I'll tell you what
how he did
happened.
it.
What happened is Bakshiji and Panchamda were listening to the dad narrating the situation of the song. And dad just said, while narrating the sequence, that she comes and she says, Mera naam hai Shabnam, tumhara naam kya hai? Meena, Inna, Dina, whatever that is. And when the narration finished, Panchamda told Bakshiji, जैसे शक्तिदा ने अभी एक्सप्लेन किया सिचुएशन, हम लोग गाना उसी स्टाइल में बनाते हैं, डायलॉग फॉर्म में. आप इसको लिखिए, मैं ट्यून बनाता हूँ. So Bakshiji wrote the song, and then Panchamda made the tune. And what a tune he made! So many people have told me when they saw the film, they were like scared.
The way Bindu owned that song, the way she just swallowed, sorry to say, but she swallowed Asha Parekh up. And credit to Asha Parekh that she allowed herself to get swallowed, because that was what the story required, for her to be completely cowed down in that situation. But I got scared when I saw the song, to be very honest. I just hid and
No,
said.
in fact, Jyotin's wife, Marisa, she has told me many times that I always caught Dobby's hand, or whoever is sitting next to me, his hand.
Can I also add another thing? Asha ji, we have heard cabaret songs from her, and we have heard soft melodious songs, classical music. In that song, when she's singing, I felt that I'm sorry to use this word, but all the bitchiness came out. Like, it was like, I am going to be this nasty villain when I'm singing. And that is a quality I don't find in many singers today. But at that time, people would sing according to the situation also. Asha ji is singing it as if she is Bindu, and she is not singing it as if she is like
Playback.
Asha Bhosle ji that we know. And that I found is very fantastic.
I can see Divya waiting to tell us so much about the music. Divya, over to you.
So, first things, lots been spoken about Panchamda, and as you said rightly, we always talk about Panchamda. But I would like to say Kati Patang should belong to Anand Bakshi Saab, because इस फिल्म में जो राइटिंग है, you take प्यार दीवाना होता है, क्षमा कहे परवाने से, और you take जिस गली में आए रस में ये कस्में सभी तोड़ दे, वो जो लाइंस एक जो उन्होंने, ऐसा लग रहा था, Indivar was known for as a lover poet. Indivar साहब was known for that, and यहाँ पे आनंद बख्शी का जो लवर वाला जो पूरा साइड था, एक हार्ट ब्रेक वाला जो साइड था, वो उन्होंने पूरा निकाल के कटी पतंग में परोस दिया. That you can see it in there. तो प्यार दीवाना, ये जो मोहब्बत है, of course मेरा नाम शब्द में तो जो शुरुआत में जो ना 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 जो पूरा शुरुआत है, but जिस गली में तेरा घर, that is the gem of this film, and I read somewhere मुकेश साहब का इंटरव्यू था, या शायद अशीम का ही इंटरव्यू था, where it was mentioned that Kishore Kumar was originally supposed to sing this song, and he was on his family tour, and they did not have anyone else left. तो चलो मुकेश साहब को गाना गवा दिया था, but क्या गवा?
Ashim will also clarify all these.
That's not the case. Actually, as per the story, Dad had decided to have this song in the background, playing in the background. And so he wanted another singer, and that would be Mukesh ji. So until the song was recorded, it was meant to be a background song, and Mukesh ji sang it. And later on, what happened is the song was so good that Rajesh Khanna was very insistent and pleading with Dad that please, Dada, I want to sing this song. I am a superstar today, and please let me sing. And Dad thought over it a lot. And then even Gulshan Nanda was also like siding up with Rajesh Khanna. So then Dad decided, okay, I will picturize it, you singing it. But if you notice the picturization, he has made it very subtle. You know, he's not expressing the song as the words go, but as though he's just singing a general song. Because the words are such that he cannot, she's a widow, and he cannot express love directly to her. So very intelligently, he picturized the song in such a manner that it doesn't portray love directly, but at the same time, it portrays love.
But it's a
And there is a
beautiful.
moment in that where they bring their hands together and it freezes, the shot freezes. And then it goes, I mean, that is the thought process going on in their mind. So, I mean, that is how, that's why Mukeshji was there and was there for the recording. And as soon as the song finished, Mukeshji came out of the, and then we heard the song. And Mukeshji told Manori da, he played the saxophone. Manori, तूने तो सबका बैंड बजा दिया, and he was very happy. लेकिन मैंने तेरा भी बैंड बजा दिया.
But you know, that is a very rare combination of Rajesh Khanna and Mukesh. People often talk about Kishore Kumar has always been spoken, Mohammad Rafi is spoken, even Manna Dey is spoken, but this is a very rare one. And I would like to say something about Asha Parekh. You know, this was a very risky role for her. Asha Parekh was known for her glamorous andaz, the typical dances. Yahan pe na to glamour hai, na dance sequence hai. Such a complex role, and she did it, and she got award for this film also. So that's again, and whereas Rajesh Khanna, one can see him, you know, and Shakti Samanta celebrating the stardom of Rajesh Khanna in all those songs. So I read an interview of Asha Parekh where she shared that when they were working with Kaka in Baharo Ke Sapne that time, so he was a normal actor. But when she started Aan Milo Sajna and Kati Patang, he had already become a superstar. So she said कि हम लोग जब शूटिंग करते थे तो लड़कियां 100 से ज्यादा लड़कियां आती थी और सब आती थी वहां पे सिर्फ काका को मिलने और मुझे रिक्वेस्ट करती थी कि प्लीज आप उनसे जाके एक ऑटोग्राफ लाके दे सकते हैं क्या एंड आई यूज्ड टू गो एंड गेट काका's autograph and come and show it to these, give it to these girls. So that's the beauty of this film.
I actually want to add a small little detail that I was just telling Madhavji that I was so nervous that I actually watched the film a couple of times in the last few days. So we just noticed that in the credits, पहला नाम आशा जी का है, second name is of Rajesh Khanna ji. And I just wanted to ask, because that was not the norm. It was always a superstar's name that used to come first. So was there a particular reason?
No, it always...
Actually, even in Aradhana and Amar Prem, it is Sharmila Tagore's name.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask because of that only, that Shakti ji, did he actually put it for a reason, or was it like just...
she was the senior actor.
Seniority, yeah.
Seniority. It always goes by that.
In fact, years later, when Daddu Sippy made a film called Boxer with a superstar called Mithun, the first credit was Tanuja. It said starring Tanuja, and then Mithun, and then Rati, and then Annie.
Is that why Ashok Kumar's name always appeared first?
Always,
yeah.
Always.
Amitabh, Shashi Kapoor also, you will find Shashi Kapoor.
Shashi Kapoor's name before Amitabh Bachchan, and Ashok Kumar's name before Shashi Kapoor.
Yes.
In fact, in Mughal-e-Azam, you find Prithviraj Kapoor before Dilip Kumar.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I have one more small trivia. Can I share that?
Yeah. Divya.
So Prem Chopra sahab told me about one very nice kissa. He said that एक time आया था जब मेरे और राजेश खन्ना की फिल्मों चल गई थी हमारी फिल्में, तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स आते थे और काका को कहते थे कि पिक्चर में हीरोइन कौन है हमको उससे मतलब नहीं है, लेकिन पिक्चर में प्रेम चोपड़ा होना चाहिए, क्योंकि अगर वो और आप है तो दोनों का कॉम्बिनेशन हमें अच्छा लगता है. ऑडियंस को स्मॉल सिटीज में, स्मॉल टाउन्स में ये कॉम्बिनेशन बहुत चलता है. तो ये पिक्चर थी जहाँ पे हिज डायलॉग दैट मैं वो आग हूँ जो बुझाना भी जानता है, समथिंग लाइक दैट. ही ऑलवेज हैड दिस तकिया कलाम्स एंड दैट वाज बिकम सुपर फेमस. तो ये विलन्स भी बहुत कमाल के थे इस फिल्म में, यू नो, दैट नेगेटिव शेड ऑफ बिंदु एंड प्रेम चोपड़ा, बिकॉज इफ यू सी दे आर द वन हु आर कंट्रोलिंग आशा पारेख फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट सीन. So they are the main people in the film.
And Dobby sir, over to you. These are people who worked with you and your father. I want you to tell us something about Kati Patang, because Dobby sir and Ashim have been friends, and their fathers, Shakti Da and Jyotin Goel sahab, have been friends. So Dobby is here because he knows all about the era, and once in a while I look at him and I see him beaming, so I know that we're on the right track. And if we're not, then he sort of puts his hand up and says, no, this is the way. So over to you.
In regard to, everybody's been talking about the music, but the film itself, I'd like to talk about the film itself.
Yes.
Now, Kati Patang, In the Urdu, you have a very, very emotional film, Aradhana. Then you have a very, very emotional film, Amar Prem. And right in the middle, you have Kati Patang. Now, Kati Patang is slightly different from these two in the sense that the emotions are not of the ilk of Aradhana and Amar Prem. Kati Patang is more formulaic in a way. But the skill of the director is where it comes in. This was, though it's supposed to be a Gulshan Nanda original, probably Gulshan Nanda got the idea of his novel, for his novel, from an old Cornell Woolrich novel called Waltz into Darkness, in which there is this particular track where a bride comes, she only knows her to-be husband by correspondence, through correspondence, and she comes there and she is married to him, and then it is slowly discovered that she is not that person died in that journey and another person took over the identity. So this is Waltz into Darkness. So that was probably the starting point, the tick off. Then both Shaktida and Gulshan Nanda, the way they've created this thing, you just see the film, the tempo of the film. It's the tempo. This would have otherwise, in a lesser director's hands, it could have become a typical formulaic film which would just fall apart. But the way the story is kept moving, you see one thing, you're expecting one thing, suddenly it twists around. There was a very famous kind of saying in Hollywood, an aphorism in Hollywood, that when you want your next moment, if you run out of something, have a man enter with a gun, and the story proceeds. It's precisely that. They don't enter with a gun, but you have a sudden twist. You have a moment happening, then suddenly Prem Chopra is there. If you have a moment, they are happily sitting in a bar and Bindu is there singing the song. Now, why is Bindu singing the song? You don't know why. If you look at it, if it's a lesser director, Bindu does not know why she could be very legitimately there as a widow. She could be very legitimately there in any. Suddenly she is accusing her. Accusing her of what? Bindu has no idea. What is she accusing her of? But you don't question that. Bindu is there, she's singing, because the audience knows that there is this thing in the background, that there is this thing, that this falsity, that there is this hoax that she's perpetrating, Asha Parekh. The audience knows that. So if Bindu accuses her, nobody stops to think that Bindu can have no idea about this. So Bindu is accusing her. The audience knows. The suspense is all there and the song is great. So you really enjoy the situation without going back and thinking about all these things. There are these moments where if you stop to think, then you will probably say that that's not, logical. But who worries about logic? It's emotionally correct. It grips you, and it moves so fast. That was Shaktida. Shaktida we were just discussing the other day when we were talking about Chinatown, Shaktida's cutting. It was on a different level. Whether he was doing a crime film or whether he was doing an emotional film, his cutting was so good that he wouldn't give the audience a breather. That you would think, okay, now we are going to see this particular shot, and then we are going to have this transition scene, and then we're going to the next scene. No transitions. It will go bang into the next scene. And that's what gripped the audience. So in any of his films, even in Aradhana for that matter, there is that kind of cutting. So in fact, Ashim and I were discussing this at one time, that his cutting was so good. He was telling me about his dad sitting actually on the movie Ola, which was as you know, Viveck, that was the basic editing station of that era, the movie Ola. And he used to make these, outrageous cuts. And you would think that, okay, how can this match with this? But when you see the flow is perfect. So that was actually Kati Patang. Kati Patang was so good precisely because of this. It was so fast. And naturally the music was amazing. So you're waiting, and the next scene, and then this great song comes along. And then you go again, and the next scene. It just gripped the audiences, it just absolutely captured that era.
And I completely agree with Divya. It's not only Kati Patang, which was owned by Anand Bakshi. Yesterday, I was doing it from Salman Khan's office. I had to do some work on some casting. And when we were talking about the lyrics of Amar Prem, and somebody in the conversation said, Sham ko bhula, Sham ka vada. It just was going on. And when I drove back from Juhu to Kafred, I listened to Rehna Beat Jai 4 times, 5 times, non-stop on a loop. And I just the time flies. It just flew, So I'm going back to you, Ash. When Shaktidas started Aradhana, little did he know that he was creating a trailblazing series of successful movies. And he could have gone on that track after Kati Patang, Aradhana, Amar Prem too. But yet he moved backwards into making Anurag, which was a completely different kind of film. And then from Anurag, he jumped into things like Mehbooba and Anurodh and Ajnabi and a whole bunch of other movies. What made him tick as a filmmaker? He jumped across genres as if, there are people who can't do anything else that from crime to romance to thriller to emotional family dramas, he did them all and with ease.
He never went by any typical type of film or anything. He always went by what caught his fancy as a story. So any story that caught his fancy, he would want to make it.
In fact, Vivek, I'll just interrupt Ashim for a moment here. We were discussing this the other day that after Aradhana, Shaktida's style he made a lot of, as you were saying just now, he made a lot of emotional films. But the film industry with Johnny Mera Naam switched tracks. Shaktida he just defied that trend. He defied the trend. Yeah, absolutely. If you remember when sound came in, Johnny Kaplan was the only man who made a silent movie, City Lights.
Strange enough.
He continued making a silent movie, and he made this huge hit, City Lights.
And you see, after being in Paris and after making Chinatown and these movies, when Johnny Mera Naam in full force brought everything back, you would have thought, my type of movies are back in action.
But no.
He said, no, I'm going to make emotional films and romantic films with a newcomer called Rajesh Khanna. And I promise you at that point, there was no actor who would have said no to working with Shakti Samanta.
Correct. And it's not that Rajesh Khanna did not make a thriller. He made The Train, if you remember.
Yeah, he made The Train.
Everyone was there in the farm.
Yes, in the Fark, The Train.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of stuff that was happening.
Yeah, but Apna Desh was not a typical crime film.
Yeah.
It was this kind of...
Apna Desh was from the south.
Yeah.
And yet R.D. Burman gave them a great score.
Terrific, amazing.
From the Nariyal, Lelo Re, Lelo Babu, Pio Nariyal Pani to everything else. And I do remember this one particular shot, not just in Apna Desh, but even in Hum Shakal, which was followed up. It was directed by a man called Jambo.
Yes.
So they would suddenly cut to this aeroplane flying and it would say directed by Jambo. And I couldn't help but laugh. Suddenly this plane would come out of nowhere and it would say directed by Jambo. I'm the Jumbo Jet who's making this film.
Absolutely. That was the idea.
It was quite incredible. Tushar, I'm going to give you the last word more or less because I've seen the timers. We have maybe 5 minutes more. If we are lucky, we have 10. If Madhav is really nice to us, we'll get the whole hour.
I just want to say one thing, which I think which gives a sense of all the discussion. At that time, when we watched Kati Patang, everything seemed real. Bindu seemed real. Prem Chopra seemed real. Madhavi's, I think her name was Madhavi. Madhavi's fright seemed real. Madhavi was Asha Parekh. Everything seemed so real. I mean, it was not a movie we were watching. It was a real thing we were watching. And the songs were also real. Pyar Deewana Hota Hai, piano, everything was real. So that was what I think got us, and Kati Patang is a hallmark film in our lives, and followed by Amar Prem and Ajnabi and all those Rajesh Khanna, R.D. Burman combinations. Amazing. Just amazing. I mean, that's why we feel today that no matter how technically today's films are fabulous and everything is great, but that whole packaging is somehow not there, what we have seen as children. I don't know if Vivek will agree with me or not.
I completely agree with you. I don't know why I have a complete connect with the films of the 70s, 80s and some in the 90s. Not the South films, not the Padmalaya films, the other ones. But
Vivek, one film, if we had one more day, the one film which we missed out, and that should have been Shakti, Rajesh Khanna, Shakti Samanta combination, Anurodh, where Adi was not there and LP was there, but music, that emotions, that Vinod Mehra's character, it's a fabulous film.
Ashok Kumar, and that's something actually now that we are talking, and we have so much of Shakti there to discover, which is why I'm going out from Kati Patang, because we have, why Lakshmikant Pyarelal out of the blue? Because there was a great teaming with Shankar Jaikishan, a great teaming with O.P. Nair, a great teaming with S.D. Burman, a great teaming with R.D. Burman, and suddenly when you had Rajesh Khanna, you went into Lakshmikant Pyarelal, but yet...
Was it due to Kaka and RD's thoda jagda daru waru?
No, but Mehbooba was R.D. Burman. Mehbooba was R.D. Burman.
I read somewhere a very bizarre Stardust article was there. They both had...
Yeah, I've noticed you're reading a lot of bizarre stuff, I've noticed.
Yeah, but that's good now. People like such stuff.
No, it was nothing like that. It was just that Lakshmikant and Dad were very close friends. And for many, many years, they were all the time telling Dad, yeah, we are such good friends. Why don't you take us in one film at least? And at that moment of time, he was making 3 or 4 films. One was Great Gambler, one was Barsat Ki Ek Raat, one was Balika Badhu, and Anurodh, and so Dad told Pancham that I'm giving one film to LP, and that is how Lakshmikant Pyarelal came into Anurodh.
But they gave him a great score in Anurodh. Yeah. आपके अनुरोध में and आते जाते खूबसूरत आवारा दर्द
जब दर्द नहीं था जीवन में
जब दर्द नहीं था superb, and when he sings it in the climax, I want my friend back. I don't care for the stardom that you are showering on me. Just pray for my friend. He should not die. That whole story comes out in one song when he is singing. Yeah. And I saw that in Roxy as well, and I wept.
I had mentioned about this to Imtiaz Ali when I saw Rockstar. I told him the same situation was there in the last song, Tum Ho Ke Pehle Nadan Parinde, where he's singing and he wants Nargis to come back and live, and he's ready to give his stardom. So मैंने बोला sir कहीं ना कहीं ये आपको अनुरोध से, you're like yeah you are right, but I could see that connection.
No, but in those days we were in that era where everyone said he's a good technician, and I never understood that. I thought a director would have to be a storyteller, nothing else. When I made Raju,
yes. He has to be a good storyteller.
Yes. Aziz Mirza said, Vivek, I'm sorry, you should take your assistant Sanjay Gupta. I am not a good technician. Sanjay Gupta is tell everyone I'm a good tech. So I said, sir, Vinod Pradhan is a good technician. Renu Saluja is a good technician. Javed Sayyed is a good technician. I will get you good technicians. You be a good storyteller. You tell the story from the heart. We are there to support everything that you want. But thank you, everyone. This was an absolutely incredible conversation. 2 things that I would like to talk about. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in an aeroplane next Friday, so I won't be here during Barsat Ki Raat. But my friend Anant Mahadevan has happily decided that he will come because he said at least one thing I should do. So he will be hosting all of you. Secondly, it's a conversation of film lovers about a filmmaker who loved movies and an audience that loved movies. So please feel free to be here every time. The more the merrier. These conversations are a tribute to Shaktida, not merely showing his films or talking about certain facts and certain figures. It is these heartfelt conversations that we have with one another, which are the real tribute to great filmmakers. And I'm hoping that we continue with this series for a very long time. Madhav sir, over to you for questions and answers.
Thank you, Vivek, but I don't think we'll be able to take any questions. We have far exceeded the time limit that we had.
But you didn't stop us, so
I didn't stop it because it was so engrossing, and I just wanted to get an opportunity, but I couldn't. It was so nice. So I must thank all of you, Ashim ji, Divya ji, Tushar ji, Jyotin ji, Aparna ji, and of course my dear friend Vivek for this enlightening conversation. So no questions today, but I will reserve it for the next show. Thank you very much. And
next year when this is offline, somewhere we will do these conversations and we will not stop once the film starts. We will go out, have a drink and continue conversations.
Look forward.
For sure.
Thank
yes.
you very much.
Thank you. God bless you, and over to seeing Kati Patang.